words and concepts, and it's something that's people love. I mean, people love. It's so accurate because it's happening to our country right now. And now you can add in just the illegal immigration. You can see what's going on in the Middle East, and it's really sad and really incredible. On her way to work one morning, down the path along the lake, a tender-hearted woman saw a poor, half-frozen snake. His pretty colored skin had been all frosted with the dew. "Poor thing," she cried. "I'll take you in and I'll take care of you." Right? That's what we're doing. Come on in. Come on in, everybody. From your prisons, from your mental institutions. "Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman," sighed the vicious snake. She wrapped in a comforter of silk and laid him by her fireside with some honey and some milk. She hurried home from work that night, and soon as she arrived, she found the pretty snake she'd taken in had been revived. "Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman," sighed the vicious snake, vicious, vicious snake. She clutched him to her bosom. "You're so beautiful," she cried. "But if I hadn't brought you in by now, you truly would have died." She stroked his pretty skin again and kissed him and held him tight. But instead of saying, "Thank you, ma'am," the snake gave her a vicious bite. "Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman," sighed the vicious snake. "I saved you," cried the woman, "and you've bitten me, but why? You know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm going to die." "Shut up, silly woman," said the reptile with a grin. "You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in." How accurate is that?
Yeah, and just how accurate is that? As how many snakes have we allowed into our country by having open borders? How many snakes have come across out of these millions of people that have crossed our borders since Joe Biden has come into office and the Democrats took control of D.C.? Just how many snakes have we taken allowed to come in? I think it's a good question. I think it's a question that deserves an answer. We've gotten into this discussion before. I have, you have. Don't know my position on it. And if you're listening to me for the first time, Ash, you're going to hear some things about that you're not going to like, maybe. If you're one of these people that believe our borders should be open to everybody and anybody and everyone can just cross into them and find a home and make a home and live off the public teat here, well, you're not going to like my answers. But that's beside the point. I don't care. All right. I'm going to start this off with the title of my string. Okay. It's a Tuesday catch-up string. And I want to answer a question here. Some questions posed to me by Ash. And you're going to ask, who in the hell is Ash? No, I'm not talking about Ash Ketchum from Pokemon. All right. I'm going to share this video and off of TikTok, and then part of a discussion that went on with it. Okay. So here we go. Here's the video.
I have to be very clear about this. Transgenderism, especially in kids, is a mental health disorder.
It's either a mental health disorder or it's kids just playing up to be what's cool. What's the new thing? I mean, everything. This is something we've talked about before. You know, kids want to do what everybody else is doing, and remember, you know, this trans crap all started with Tumblr years ago. Trans tumblers, remember that phrase?
Health disorder.
No, your mom don't get it, and your dad don't get it, Uncle John don't get it. And you can't tell Grandma, cause her heart can't take it, and she might not make it. They say don't dare, don't you even go there, cutting off your long hair, you do as you're told. Till you wake up, go put on your makeup, this is just a phase you're gonna outgrow. Something wrong in the village.
All right, that's enough of this. So, I added a comment. He's not wrong, especially in kids, not teens. They're just trying to be cool. And what's more cool right now than being trans? Or non, a couple years ago it was coming out as gay or lesbian or non-binary. Remember that? That was what was cool back then. Now it's cool to come out as trans because, being gay just isn't enough anymore. Being a lesbian just isn't enough anymore. You got to come out as trans, Even being non-binary isn't cool enough anymore. But growing your hair long and putting on a dress and putting on fingernail polish and makeup and lipstick, for a boy, that's what's cool. All right, so that's my response. All right, then Ash pops up with 3%. Then Ash again, why would you want this? Teens are capable of looking around and realizing being trans, especially now, isn't fun. My response to that, why are teens not allowed, they should have been allowed, not showed, not allowed to buy firearms, tobacco, alcohol, tattoos, etc. Because they are stupid and make stupid decisions. Now, if you paid attention, I was quoting somebody here, and I should put in quotation marks, but I didn't. And so they may not have caught that I was quoting someone. And who was I quoting? I was quoting Kamala Harris. Okay. When she said it. So, let's see here. Da 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 da. Come on. Close that. Close. Come on. Here we go.
Through 24. They are stupid. What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid. What else do we know about this?
All right. Enough said. And younger teens are even more stupid. Younger teens are even more stupid. That's why younger teens, 10, even and preteens are not allowed to go out and buy firearms. That's why they're not allowed to go out to buy tobacco. That's why they're not allowed to go out and buy alcohol. That's especially why they're not allowed to get tattoos. They're not allowed to drive cars. They're not allowed to sign contracts. There's a lot of things you're not allowed to do as a teenager. Why? Because you're stupid and you make stupid mistakes. You have to have a parent or adult guardian sign off on it. Hey, morning, Sean. Morning, Badger. All right. Now, somehow this got out of order. All right. But then I also added to them, look for my, because, I'm TikTok, like everything else, you can only put in so many letters. So many letters, and it ends you're limited. So I put in here, look for my stream on YouTube tomorrow, Tuesday the 17th at 9 a.m. Central. I'll have a full answer for you there. Teens aren't wanting to be trans for shits and giggles. Yes, they are. They're wanting to be trans because it's a cool thing to be. It's something that their parents didn't do. Okay? They say stupid things just to be different, but yet cool. All right? So it's different but cool to be a trans right now. Ash responds back, I'm not going to give you clout over stupid internet wannabe. Or over a stupid internet argument wannabe Ben Shapiro. Either you're trans or you're not. Then my honest response, hey, I don't seek clout. I barely get double-digit views, and I don't care. If you want a full answer, you'll listen. They say they'll pass. My response again, hey, if you can't handle actual thought-out responses, that's your problem, not mine. So, Ash, again, you want us to embrace this latest cool act of kids. And you want us to embrace it to the point that we surgically and chemically harm their bodies, change their bodies to fit something that they may or may not be, something that they claim they are as a teenager or pre-teenager. I claimed to be Superman once to the point I tried jumping. I had on a Superman cape, and it had a little chest piece on it with the magical S on it. And I jumped off the kitchen table. Split my lip, bled all over the place. I learned real quick I wasn't Superman. So next I thought I was going to be Batman, because Batman didn't fly. So since I realized that I couldn't fly, I was going to be Batman next. Sean, I'm not going to disagree with you on that. We didn't kick the kids out of the house. Now, I I made my kid play outside all the time. I wouldn't let him stay on his PlayStation. In fact, I refused to buy him PlayStation. His grandfather got him one for a Christmas present. I wouldn't let him buy a television for his bedroom. His grandfather bought him one instead. Then he demanded to get cable in his bedroom, and I wouldn't let him. I told him not only no, but hell no. Then one day my wife went behind my back a few years later, and when he was 17, I think, and let him put and ran cable in his bedroom. I was not happy about that. Hey, Tyre, how you doing today? So, Ash, these kids, this is all the stupid shit put in their brains by the internet. They're trying to be cool. We are dooming that generation because there's going to be so many of them that won't be able to reproduce because we've destroyed their ability to reproduce with the chemicals and surgical procedures. All right? We've turned over the raising of our children to the internet and to people like Gregory Marsh, that pervert. It's rumbling because it's hungry. You know, it's like your tummy. It starts rumbling when it's hungry. So, anyway, there's enough of that there, Ash. I answered your question in the first 20 minutes here. So, if you want, if you decide to listen, if you decide to listen to this later on, or if you're listening now and just not saying anything, hey, that's fine. You know, Tyra, my dad, as we all know, I'm 64 now. I grew up born in 59, grew up in the 60s and 70s, graduated high school in 78. When I was 16, my mom, she started yelling at me one day, and she raised her hands and she was going to hit me. She was going to smack me. I grabbed a hold of her wrist to stop her. Well, my dad was in the basement working on he was working on something, probably getting the coal furnace ready for winter or whatever. And she yelled for him, and he come up, and he saw me standing there holding my mother's, his wife's hands, not letting her go. I had her by the wrist. I let go of her. He walked over in front of me and asked me who in the hell I thought I was. He punched me one time in the solar plexus. Now, I don't think he hit me as hard as he could. I honestly don't. In fact, I know he didn't. But he hit me hard enough that I collapsed to the floor. If you've ever gotten a good punch in the solar plexus, you know exactly what that does to you, especially when you're not expecting it. You're laying on the floor and you're gasping for breath. At that point, my dad said if he ever saw me lay hands on my mother again, he would definitely teach me a lesson. That was nothing compared to what I would get. Yeah, Tyre, my mother died about 7 years ago, and I understand that. You know, she's buried in Ohio, and I'm down here in Florida. I do believe her spirit come over and smack the daylights out of me if I did something that she didn't like. So it seems we just can't get away from Harvard and what's gone on here with Israel. Remember we talked about Harvard and then students that were out protesting and claiming their allegiance for Hamas. Well, Hamas supporting Harvard students beg for donations to support their mental health after suffering relentless bullying over supporting the terror attack on Israel. Harvard's Arab Alumni Association has appealed for donations to help the students' mental health after they're subjected to that relentless bullying and intimidation for blaming Israel for the Hamas terror attacks. Harvard undergraduate Palestine Solidarity Committee issued a letter on October 7th, co-signed by 33 other Harvard student organizations, stating, "We, the undersigned student organizations, hold the Israeli regime, entirely responsible for all of the unfolding violence." Yada, 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 yada. The students leading the 33 organizations and the Solidarity Committee were named and faced calls to be blacklisted from future employment. They included the son of the British businesswoman Jo Malone. On Wednesday, the Harvard Arab Alumni Association wrote to members appealing for help in supporting these students. They may require legal counsel, health care, mental health support, financial aid, or mentorship to navigate these turbulent and uncertain times. Oh, oh, your poor little babies. Hey, Ramen, good morning. Hey, morning, Neil. Well, if you're driving, you keep your eyes on the roads and hands on the steering wheel and off the keyboard. I will not be responsible for you having an accident. I will not be a party to you having an accident. These poor kids, they've been subjected to relentless bullying and intimidation. The situation is rapidly deteriorating as some students find their names on watch lists, creating severe risk for their immigration status and future career prospects. Remember this statement right here: creating severe risk for immigration status and future career prospects. All right, keep that in mind. Our ask and please you all extend your hand to these students to provide the vital assistance they need within your capacity and scope of influence. These poor little babies, they FO'd and now they're finding out. They took and held a position. Thought they were going to hold a position which was going to endear them, show how brave they were, how smart they were, how correct they were. Because you can uh, BDS is very big on college campuses. All right, boycott, divest. I can't remember what the S stands for. But they're talking about staying out, boycott and divest yourselves of anything having to do with Israel and the Jewish people. There is a video that went around a couple years ago. A guy stood out in front of a college campus in California. I want to say it was in California, probably Berkeley. First, he stood out with the Jewish flag, and he got cussed at, he got yelled at, he got screamed at, he got flipped off. Very, very nasty. They put away the Jewish flag, the Israeli flag, and put up the Palestinian flag. And everybody's coming up and congratulating him and being very nice to him and everything else. I just happened to think of that video, so that's why I'm not playing it. But it's been very popular for a very long time to hate Israel among the left. Very popular. And we're not anti-Jewish, we're just anti-Israel. We don't hate Jews, we just hate Israel. Yeah, sanction, thank you. That's what it was, Sean. Oh yeah, definitely, Badger. Definitely, it's our right to get people fired for saying things that the left doesn't like. I mean, how many people have they gotten fired for violating their norms? And they've gone to businesses and got them fired. Claudine Gray, rather, the president of Harvard, said days later the letter does not speak for the educational institution as a whole or its leadership. Her comments came after some criticized the Harvard administration for taking too long to denounce the student letter. On Friday, she issued another apology. Gay said the university rejects terrorism, hate, and harassment based on people's beliefs while embracing free expression, even views that many of us find objectionable or even outrageous. And I've said this. This is a constant refrain from me. You're going to hear me say this over and over and over again. If you're on the left and you hate the Jewish people, well, you're okay because you hate you hate the Jewish people. But you're still okay because you're left. But if you're on the right, if and I hate saying on the right, but if you don't subscribe to the left, let me put it this way, if you don't subscribe to the left's ideology and you still hate the Jews, then you're the most evil person in the world. Or if you admit that you hate anybody along with the Jews, then you're evil. So some hatred is allowed on the left. You're allowed to hate the Jews. But that's all the only you're allowed to hate Jews and white men and white people. You're allowed to, you're allowed to hate that. But that's all. That's it. That's it. You're not allowed to hate anybody else. And if you're a white woman, you're only allowed to be hated because you're white, but you're supposed to be loved because you're a woman. So you don't get as much hate as a white woman. We do not punish or sanction people for expressing objectionable or outrageous views. Oh yeah. I'm sure that if I'm sure that there's an organization, if they came and protested on your campus as students, that you would sanction them, that you would punish them. If they came out saying that they hated people, or some people from certain other countries deserved whatever was going on, okay, I'm certain that Harvard would sanction them or punish them. I don't believe that for a second. Josh Wilcox, 22, is listed as one of 3 students who run the undergraduate Palestine Authority Solidarity Committee. His mother, a British perfume giant founder who sold her whatever company to Estee Lauder, refused to address her sons, only saying the war in the Middle East had left her heartbroken as she branded the attack by Hamas as abhorrent. It's amazing how all these rich people, rich kids, find time to hate Israel. They find time to do all this hatred. It's well, we're going, and it's something about these universities. Okay, this happened Friday at another rather prestigious college, one on the West Coast, and no, not Berkeley, but Stanford. Stanford teacher suspended for allegedly separating Jewish students in class as colonizer. A Stanford University lecturer has been suspended for allegedly making students stand in a corner while branding them colonizers, while also downplaying the Holocaust and defending the murderous Hamas terrorists as freedom fighters. Students said the lecturer, who was not identified, opened 2 freshman classes Tuesday saying the class would be on colonialism. He then blamed the war raging between Israel and Hamas on Zionists, supporters of a movement for the protection of independent Jewish state. The lecturer also reportedly justified the slaughter of more than 1,300 Israelis by Hamas students by saying it was part of the Palestinians' resistance. The teacher then asked Jewish students to raise their hands, separating them from their belongings, and ordered them to stand in the corner, saying that's what the Jews are doing to the Palestinians. He asked how many Jews died in the Holocaust. When someone said 6 million, he said yes, only 6 million. He then turned around and said colonizers killed more than 6 million. Israel is a colonizer. Now, Stanford, of course, then, they released their little letters. Ah, sorry about that. Didn't mean to blow your screens out. And once again, oh, we want to make clear that Stanford stands unequivocally against the hatred based religion, race, ethnicity, or national origin, and other categories. Really? They allow people in Stanford to come out against white people all the time. You allow it. So stop saying you don't when you do. You allow people to hate other people based upon the color of their skin. If this guy had done this just against white people, you would have had no problem with it. Again, here. We've received complaints about banners, signs, and chalkings on campus that express views that many find offensive. It is important to remember that controversial and even offensive speech is allowed except when it crosses lines certain illegal categories such as threats or harassment, which is thresholds quite high. The only people that but I would lay odds. I would make a bet that if these statements of harassment, yeah, Romney's only suspended. And Sean, you're right about that. Everybody's a colonizer because everybody's family's history moved from place to place. That's how the earth got populated. And people that came in later displaced people that came first or earlier. I love it when these guys sit there and say, well, we've got the first peoples here. Really? First peoples? Are you sure about that? Are you sure that your tribe of people were the first peoples here? Well, we were the first peoples here when your people came. Yeah, but who did you displace? Who had that land before you did? Well, we've always had. No, you didn't always have that land. Somebody else had that land first. But they don't want to see it that way. And that's fine. That's up to them. You know, let them have their little lies. It makes them feel better. But see, now we're getting into a little bit of a bigger problem here, though, because Biden Biden is going to Israel today. That ought to be. I wonder who's going to be talking for him. I wonder who's actually going to be doing the discussions. Or are they going to have him hopped up on his drugs and not and where he's semi-coherent for 15 or 20 minutes, and then that'll be the end of the discussions for the day. And if you can't put the drugs, because they can't call a lid for the day like they can here in the United States. When they're traveling overseas and they're talking to the people overseas, and they're not in country, they're not at the White House. They just can't say, well, we need to put a lid on this for the day. Because Biden does that quite often. So they're going to have other people. I know there's no way in God's green earth is Biden going to be doing any kind of serious discussions himself. Anthony Blinken, I think is going to be the one doing most of it. Secretary of State Blinken. And old Joe be sitting there nodding his head if he's even awake. You know, they're claiming this is a chance for Biden to burnish his national security credentials with U.S. voters. Because, you know, we are coming up on election season and, you know, he's taken such a hit, and Democrats in general have taken such a hit with the fiasco on the southern border that, you know, all of a sudden, you know, this is a U.S. national security issue. Why is it a U.S. national security issue? Because of who knows who in the hell's come across the southern border. How many uh, of these people do we have in the southern border? I don't know, Sean. Somebody started calling it, putting a lid on it. So I'll go ahead and pay out that $20. But see, also though, if with Biden over there talking to the Israelis, how pissed off is that going to make Hamas and Iran? How pissed off is that going to make Hezbollah? And we do have a Marine unit heading there if they're not already there. And there's no way, I mean, Iran is not going to sit back and take this all lightly. And we've got the dipshit of dipshits, Lindsey Graham. He's out there opening his trap. Lindsey Graham, if Hezbollah enters war, Iran will be in the crosshair of U.S. and Israel. Lindsey Graham told NBC's Meet the Press he plans to lead a group of senators on a bipartisan trip to Israel and Saudi Arabia this week and threatens to attack Iran if Hezbollah joins Hamas in the war against Israel. What kind of trouble do you think we're going to get into, Graham, if one of you dumbass senators over there acting like big guys gets your ass shot or killed? Huh? One of these idiots from Hamas or Hezbollah decides they're going to make a name for themselves and take out a U.S. senator. You really want to get us involved in a war? You're going to go out there and make yourself a damn target? Yeah, Duck Dog. That's what I'm saying. Uh, the Marine Engineering Unit went out, so God knows who else is heading out or got on standby to go. We were worried about getting into World War III over Ukraine and Russia. Now we're going to get worried about getting into World War III over with uh, Israel and Hezbollah, Iran and Hamas. People, and we don't have the materials anymore because we gave them all up to the Ukraine, who turned around and sold them to other people. Sold them to Hamas, probably sold them to Hezbollah. So yeah, this is not what I want to look forward to. This is not the Thanksgiving and Christmas season I was wanting to look forward to. Now that I could be totally wrong about all this happening. I could be totally wrong. I pray that I am. I pray that nobody decides to take a shot at Lindsey Graham or any of the other senators. I pray that nobody decides to take a shot at Biden. Hey, I may not like that senile old bastard or anything that he does, but damn it, if they shoot him and he's our president, something happens to him while his ass is over there, his senile old ass is over there, then whichever side did it, better pray that their souls go to heaven because they're going to get there one way or another. And Iran, the Islamic Republic of Iran has threatened Israel with a preemptive action by the so-called resistance front, seen as the last-ditch attempt by Tehran to prevent Israel ground forces from entering Gaza. Iran's already making threats. Iran is already making threats to attack Israel. Now, we have a problem in our own country here. Did you know that we've got laws on the books that allow us to deport naturalized citizens, strip them of their citizenship and deport them, as well as deport anybody who's here on a student or work visa if they show support for terrorism or terrorist groups? And Tom Cotton has already made a call for that. Senator Cotton urges DHS to deport foreign nationals who support Hamas. They have no place in the United States. In a letter to DHS, Alejandro Mayorkas on Monday, Cotton demanded the department take immediate action to remove foreign nationals who the GOP lawmaker says have no place in the U.S. And anybody who has expressed support for Hamas terrorist attacks. That would be a lot of groups, a lot of students missing from Harvard. There'd be a lot of people missing from Yale, a lot of people missing from Stanford. A lot of students would be out, would be gone. A lot of foreign nationals. And they ought to be in my choice. And anybody who supports this kind of terrorism, actual acts of terrorism, and they are not a U.S. citizen or they're a naturalized U.S. citizen. And what I mean by naturalized, they come to the United States from another country and they ask to become a U.S. citizen. And they start expressing support for Hamas. Deport their asses. Oh, you're a sitting member of Congress? Too bad. Deport your ass. You weren't born in the United States and you're supporting terrorists? Deport you. Deport you back to Somalia. That ought to tell you who I'm thinking about. Make America John Wayne again. Yeah, I can understand that. Called for the high treason of giving support to known terrorists. Okay. You know, the left loves to call what happened back on January 6th, the quote unquote insurrection. You know, all the MAGA terrorists. Really? They weren't terrorists. They didn't attempt to blow up the building like left-wing groups did. They didn't destroy the building like left-wing groups did. They didn't attempt to burn it down like left-wing groups did. They didn't attempt to blow it up. And we don't know how many people in the U.S. would actually support them. Federal law is clear that any alien who endorses or espouses terrorist activity or persuades others to endorse or espouse terrorist activity or support a terrorist organization is inadmissible and must be deported. I'm not going to argue with that. Deport them. I don't care what position in government they hold. In fact, if you are in our government and you support what happened in Israel, you support Hamas, you support Hezbollah, you should be deported. And if you're an American citizen and you're sitting in Congress, you should be recalled. There ought to be enough support within the government itself, within the Congress itself, the House or the Senate, to kick your ass out. Make you a non voting member at worst, at best. Pull you from every committee there is, and you can't vote. You're just a body sitting there getting a paycheck. That's all there is to that. what was this? Now, our Ms. Presley, she's got her little thing out here, little post she made. Let me make it plain. The murder of Israeli civilians by Hamas is horrific and unacceptable. That's clear. The murder of Palestinian civilians is horrific and unacceptable response from Israel. Hey Presley, remember Israel is telling them to leave the areas that they plan on bombing. It's Hamas that's not letting them happen. That blood, if any Palestinian civilians are killed, that blood belongs on the heads and hands of Hamas. Vengeance should not be a foreign policy doctrine. Bullshit. Vengeance is a foreign policy. You you uh you come at me with a knife, I come at you with a gun. You put one of ours in the hospital, we put one of yours in the morgue. That is the end of that. You are you you are a whipping boy if you don't fight back, if you don't take vengeance. But she started this little resolution. And here's her little 2-page resolution calling for the immediate de escalation and ceasefire in Israel and occupied Palestine. Well, first of all, who in the hell does she think she is that a U.S. House resolution is going to mean spit to Israel or Hamas or Hezbollah or Iran? It's not going to mean spit. Now, Corey Bush submitted this. Okay. Ms. Bush submitted the following resolution, which was referred to the committee. Resolution calling for the immediate de escalation and ceasefire in Israel and occupied Palestine, whereas all human life is precious. Okay, question. What human life? Y'all are pro abortion, remember? You're for killing life, killing human life. So suddenly now you're going to say all human life is precious? And the targeting of civilians, no matter their faith or ethnicity, is a violation of international humanitarian law. Whereas between October 7th and October 16th, 2023, armed violence claimed the lives of over 2,700 Palestinians and 1,400 Israelis. Why do you have Palestinians listed first? The Palestinians are the ones that attacked the Israelis. Israel didn't attack Palestine. Including Americans and wounded thousands more. Whereas hundreds of thousands of lives are at imminent risk if a ceasefire is not achieved and humanitarian aid is not delivered without delay. The only humanitarian aid we need to be delivering should be to Israel. Whereas the federal government holds immense diplomatic power to save Israeli and Palestinian lives, now therefore be it resolved, the House of Representatives urges the Biden administration to immediately call for and facilitate de-escalation and a ceasefire to urgently end current violence, and calls upon the Biden administration to promptly send and facilitate the entry of humanitarian assistance to Gaza. Fuck Gaza. No. Humanitarian assistance needs to go to Israel, not Gaza. They elected Hamas to lead them. They elected the terrorists. They allowed the terrorists, Hamas, to put weapons in schools and hospitals and in public areas. They're the ones that teach their kids to hate Jews. I've got no, not one damn dime. Not one damn dime should be going to Gaza until Hamas is no longer part of their system. Until Hamas has been kicked out, rolled out, and imprisoned. Not one damn dime. And if all this isn't bad enough, if all this within the borders of Israel isn't bad enough, Palestinian leader on TV announces a new Islamic fatwa that allows Palestinian Muslims to kill Israeli Jews, including women and children, all over Israel. And the squad wants us to send money for humanitarian aid to support the people that are going to go out and kill Israeli children and women.
بالامس ايضا صدرت فتوى رائعه عن هيئات علمائيه في خارج فلسطين تبيح دم الاسرائيلي اينما وجد في داخل فلسطين في الضفه الغربيه في ال 48 او في خارج فلسطين حتى في الدول المطبعه التي يزورها الان.
Did you catch that part right here? Let me back this up here. The fatwa is issued, permits the killing of Israelis wherever there may be, in Palestine, in the West Bank, inside the 1948 borders, or outside Palestine, even in Arab countries that normalize their relationships with Israel, that a large number of so-called Israeli tourists visit. A fatwa on Israeli Jews, regardless of where they live. Yet another order, religious order to kill. Now, when I first saw that, I was like, okay, you know, I need to educate myself here for just a bit. All right? Because, yeah, I mean, I thought I knew what a fatwa was. But doing a little, and I was close, but but no cigar. Here it says a fatwa means explanation or clarification and refers in simple terms to an edict or ruling by a recognized religious authority on a point of Islamic law. So when a fatwa is issued by a mufti, they're saying that according to their Islamic law, these people need to go out and do whatever it is. Because that's Islamic law dictating it. And in this case, it is Islamic law dictating that they need to go out and kill Jews, regardless of where they live. Sean, actually, from my understanding, okay, again, from my understanding, it was an election, not point of a gun election, but an election. I'm trying to walk because my dog wants in. So So that what you're hearing are me walking across the living room to let my puppy in. Okay. It's cold outside. And I told the wife this morning that I need to be taking something because I got that tickle at the base of my in the back of my throat happening this morning when I woke up. Did you have enough of that cold weather out there, Spanky? Did you have enough of that weather out there? 'Cause I don't even know what is the temperature outside right now. It's 58 degrees out. Yeah, that's a little bit chilly for what I like. Okay, get back up here because Duck Dog. Um, is that true? What they said about the rumor about blackjack pursing? All right, I gotta look it up. Blackjack pursing and let's see here. That was pig's blood, wasn't it? All right. According to the internet, here, the claim that blackjack Pershing used bullets dipped in pig's blood to kill groups of Muslim insurgents is false. The story is published by the Chicago paper 14 years after Pershing left the Philippines. There's no evidence that ever happened. So, anyway, let's see here. General Pershing on how to stop Islamic terrorists. Let's see here. Close that. They let the 50th man go, and for the next 42 years, there was not a single Muslim extremist attack anywhere in the world. U.S. General John J. Pershing effectively discouraged Muslim terrorists by that's false. Okay. Um, okay, I'm scrolling down trying to read this here, see what would happen. Okay. Your soldiers sent to fight. Yeah, when the soldiers came to kill the I'm scrolling around trying to read this, trying to find where it said. All right, that's the recounting of the story that supposedly Trump said. Who knows if that's true or not? I anymore. I don't believe half the stuff. I don't believe three-fourths of the stuff that other people say about anybody. I really don't. And you can't even trust video anymore because of deep fakes. Well, okay, I'm not going to keep looking for it because I'm not certain exactly what Blackjack Pursing did because so much of it is been exaggerated, shall we say. All right. Lindsey Graham, though, you need to keep your ass home. We don't need any Congress critters over there trying to stir the pot one way or another and making yourselves targets to push us into a war even more so. All right, don't need that tab anymore. What's this one here? This is the long video, so I'm not going to play it. I retweeted it this morning. It's when I say long video, it's 3:42. This is a gentleman saying that. Let me back this up to here. I will play this part of it because this is the part of it that gets interesting. This is the part of it that I actually agree with this gentleman here.
No, you are in a crisis. You went to the Muslim countries and you imported the garbage that.
When he's talking about importing the garbage, he meant importing the extremists, the pro-Palestinian Muslims, the pro-Ayatollahs, the everybody that you don't really see in government, that he says you don't see in the Arab nations.
The Muslim countries wanted to put in prison or isolate away from society. You went and you imported them. Why? For cheap labor. But these Islamist extremists, they don't want to work. They want free welfare. They want to marry French women, blonde hair, blue eyes. They don't have time to work. So look at Poland. They don't complain from Islamic extremism.
Now, Poland is the only EU country that refused these mass immigrations. They refused to do it. That's why he's bringing up Poland.
Single terrorist attack in Poland. The moment they sense there's a problem, they crack down on it. Polish policy, beautiful. The French, no, come. When they come,
and we've all seen what's happened to France and parts of parts of France and parts of England, where the Muslims have taken over to the point they're areas that you can't go into.
they use the resources. They go to Washington, D.C., and they sit in Congress.
We got entire cities like Dearborn, Michigan, which are controlled by Muslim extremists.
Support the Iranian regime. They go against the sanctions in Congress, right, with their hijab. Why? Because the ideology is filth.
So I retweeted this. Y'all can, if you want to hear the rest of it, especially the first part, he gets a little bit more in depth on what he's talking about, but it's only 3 minutes and 40 seconds long. Oh yeah, Ram, you're right. Poland is damn proud of not accepting them in. They were smart. Let's see here. One over was a fatwa. Covered that fatwa. What's this here? Yeah, I talked about this stupid shit that Presley and Cori Bush are putting forward. And talked about cotton. Oh, wow. I was trying to find the video this morning, and I got caught up with something else. But Dolly Parton is going to be playing the Thanksgiving halftime show for the Cowboys. And this And this makes me happy. This makes me happy to see Dolly Parton doing a halftime show because I am so tired. And I'm going to be honest, it's old grumpy man me. I am so tired of the halftime shows being rap. I'm so tired of seeing the twerking and everything else going on during halftime shows. So this makes me a happy man to see that. And I want to see a decent, and I'm not a Cowboys fan by any stretch of the imagination. So I probably won't watch the whole game, but I'll definitely tune in for the halftime show Thanksgiving Day. And let's see here. What else do I got? Let me see if I can share this announcement.
I'll see y'all this Thanksgiving.
There you go.
Way. I am
That's awesome.
so excited.
Oh, I figured you would be. Dolly Parton is going to rock the red.
So I was actually trying to find the video of the announcement itself, not a news where they cut the hell out of it, but that didn't happen. I didn't find it. So well, hell, I done walked out and talked myself out of things to say. And I thought I had plenty of stuff this morning. Well, I didn't play with the videos all the way through, so that's beside the point. Um, the Republicans in the House still haven't voted for a speaker. Jim Jordan's out there trying to firm up enough support. The Democrats are trying to say, well, let's have a bipartisan. Let's have a oh crap. Now I can't remember what the term is that they wanted, but you know, sort of like what the uh, Canadians and the British parliaments are set up, where both of us, where us Democrats are in there making some of these decisions, making these decisions. Thank you, but no thank you. Thank you, but no thank you. And of course, the Democrats are calling Jim Jordan a MAGA extremist. So we just, it's just not something we want to do, you know. Um, crap, I don't know what else to talk about here this morning. I really don't. Anybody got any ideas? Anybody else want to jump on? Jump on here for the last half hour? Anybody want to jump on for the last half hour here? I just posted a link. Because honestly, I thought I had enough stuff to go for 2 hours this morning, but I really don't. Let's see if there's anything new that's popped up here. Uh, oh, Disney's announced plans for a live-action Gargoyles series helmed by the Annabelle series writer Gary Dauberman. I've got absolutely no hopes for that being worth a damn. They've already proven it can't be, that they're not. Let's see here. The Senate Republicans are trying to freeze the $6 billion worth of money to Iran. Now they've threatened to back Hezbollah and attack Israel. Oh, 13 minutes ago, House Democrats have full attendance today, so any GOP president votes will narrow Jordan's margin for votes against him to prevail. So they are voting now. Interesting. So this is interesting. So they're voting now on Jordan. Oh, and the Democrats are trying to get Jeffries, of course, to be speaker. And if that happens, we're screwed. We're even more screwed than what we have been. Raman, I'm at the point now where I am actually just about ready to enter the city. I'm clearing up some last minute side quests. I blew one side quest. I'm not going to be able to clear because I did something I shouldn't have done. So I'm stuck with the side quests I won't be able to clear, which I'm that completionist. I like to complete all my side quests. But I didn't. I screwed it up. But I got all my characters maxed out. So they're all max levels. And I've been saving up my spell scrolls. I've got like 50 fireball spells and 30 some odd magic missile scrolls. I've got wands out the yin yang. So going into the final city, I should be pretty well prepped. I've got about 15 wands. And most of them with at least 10 charges. So I should be going pretty good because I really saved back on using these things, using any of this stuff during the game itself on any of the side missions. Yeah, I died quite a few times and such, but such is life. Let's see. I saved this back, but what the hell? I'll do it now. I wish I knew a lot more about what was going on here. But this guy with the bicycle is a Class A twat. And he deserves everything that happens. Look at that. He moved his bicycle to get in front of this guy. Watch him move his bike. Yeah, see, he moved his bicycle. Now look at his tire. Got a nice bend in it. You won't be riding that bicycle anywhere. Now, by the looks of the license plates, this is someplace in Europe. This isn't any place in the States. This has got to be overseas somewhere. So I don't know what kind of, if this is a bike path here or what. So at this point, I don't care if the guy in the car in the SUV was wrong for where he was driving, because this jerk here, rather than getting out of the way, decided to put his precious little bicycle in front of it, and he got his tire ran over and destroyed, which made me kind of happy. Not all of them deck dog, but a lot of them are. But I honestly, like I said, I used to ride a couple 100 miles a week on my bicycle. Rode my bicycle back and forth to work. The dog I had every weekend, him and I went out on a nice 6 mile ride. That was all he could handle, was about 6 miles. He was a good sized dog. So that was a trip I took every week. One, to keep him in shape, and two, to wear his ass out. So not all of us are bastards, but there are a lot of them out there who are, especially today. So, but yeah, he got everything he deserved. So, does anybody still hand wash their dishes? Yes, I hand wash all the time. And let's see here. Anyway. Well, ladies and gents, since I am just about out of time and effort, I am going to go ahead and close this stream down. I want to thank everybody for coming out. And today, Ash, if you decide to listen to this, I answered you at the top of the stream. All right? What we are allowing to happen to our children is going to destroy them. Going to destroy them physically. And it should be considered child abuse to allow anybody under the age of 18 to do any of that crap to their body. All right? I've said it before and I'll say it again. So I want everybody to have a good day, enjoy themselves, be with the ones you love, and love the ones that you're with. Bye-bye.